What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel with me, Clem Boogie. Week 2 of the NFL season. You know, it's been shocking, but yet not shocking. As you remember from the last episode when I told you that the running back position, there's a lot of shakiness about it. Not too many running plays, not too many players, not too many offensive coordinators utilizing the running game at all. I think it's becoming a one-trick pony league. I think a lot of people are adopting the air raid offense, which in turn will get a lot of quarterbacks hit a lot. But with all that being said, we've seen some lackluster play from some prominent teams that we were, hoping as Super Bowl favorites, and most people had them as, champions and picks coming into the season. A lot of people got paid, and a lot of people are underperforming. But it's only 1 week. With that being said, we've lost Aaron Rodgers in 4 plays. The New York Jets have been snake bitten. New York teams, for that matter, no matter what sport or whatever the case may be, have been snake bitten, and they just can't get it together. Me as a native New Yorker, yes, I feel bad. That's why I rarely cheer for New York sports, except for the Yankees and the Knicks. And yes, I do cheer for both teams. Yankees are always hopeful. Knicks, they kill me every year. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about football. And as it pertains to the NFL, you know how I give it up on this channel. And hopefully we can digress, dive in, and find ways to make some money. So with that being said, 4 plays, 1 upset alert. Let's make some money, people. Game up, we have the Raiders versus the Bills. Now, both teams started off in opposite directions last week, but, this is a new week. The Raiders coming off a win last week where Jimmy Garoppolo gave basically time management. He was just a game manager for the game, not really, absolving too many mistakes, if any at all. They relied on the short passing game. Yes, they spread the ball out to short-handed receivers such as Davante Adams and so forth. And, they got the job done with a 1-point victory of last week. On the other side, the Bills struggled. We saw Josh Allen throw 3 interceptions to the same person, and also a lost fumble in crucial sections of the game. Let's face it, Buffalo has to get their offense together. I don't know what the coordinator is doing, utilizing Josh Allen as their primary running back. We all know he's big, 6'5", 260, somewhere around that area. But I'm going to tell you what, these linemen, when they see a quarterback running, it's fresh meat. He's going to get hit. He's going to get punched. He's going to get pounced. And they have no one to blame but themselves. But how I see this game going is look for Buffalo to come back and make a statement in this game and just put their imprint. Yes, it's going to be their home opener. The weather will be cold. Stephon Diggs didn't take the loss last week too lightly. And, the overall consensus is that Josh Allen has to play a lot better. He just can't keep throwing the ball to the opposite team. He already has 3 interceptions. We have 1 week. If he continues this trend, he's going to blow the record of throwing interceptions out of the water. Buffalo doesn't need that, especially with the high expectations that they bring in this season. But they are running into a formidable opponent in the Raiders. The Raiders are much improved. They have Crosby on the defensive side where he's always in the face of a quarterback. The question that comes down to, can Buffalo protect Josh Allen? Can they give him time? And also, can the offensive coordinator divvy up some plays where they have an actual running back that takes the load off Josh Allen? A lot of these teams, not only Buffalo, have this idea that they're just going to throw, and create some kind of magic. No, that's a recipe for disaster. So when I see this game, I see Buffalo actually bouncing back. They're going to learn from the error of their ways, and they'll fix the problems and clear up the holes in their offense. With that being said, I like Buffalo, and I think The spread is at 9, if I'm not mistaken, or 8.5 in some books. But I would say take Buffalo, giving 9 points, and that's my pick. Next game up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams should be at full strength. As you know, Kansas City didn't have Chris Jones, nor did they have their security blanket in Travis Kelce. But both are back in the fold this week. With that being said, look for Kansas City to bounce back in a very big way. I don't know if they had, a speech therapist or a therapist in general for Kadarius Toney with all the drops that he endured during the first game against the Lions. But look for him to bounce back. He's a professional after all. And that is his position, to catch the ball. He is a wide receiver. Of course, he's human. We all understand that. But you get paid millions upon millions to catch a damn football. So catch the ball. With that being said, on the opposition side, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is looking good. I have nothing to say bad about him. He's vastly improved. It also helps when you have Calvin Ridley, who can run the route tree. He can run the short. He can run all 3 levels, and he's very sure-handed. Also, Jacksonville has a plethora of weapons out there. They have Travis Etienne in the backfield, who's proven to be an extra pass catcher coming out of the backfield, and he's just, he's a noted weapon that they have in their offensive game. They also have a very noted defense. They like to take the ball away, so it should be a very fun-filled game. However, with this game, I look for a lot of points. I like a lot of skilled positions playing their part. And I think what it's going to come down to is whoever makes the first big mistake. Like I said, Chris Jones is back for Kansas City. So he is that force, that imposing figure that is going to get at Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence didn't really have to face heat in the last week's game, much of, if any. So this one, he might be running a lot. You might see him on his bicycle much more this week. But with that being said, both potent offenses are going to outlier both defenses. Trevor Lawrence is a spectacular talent, and we all know Patrick Mahomes. He's just different. I'm not even going to say how talented he is, how great he is. He's a champion. He's an MVP, blah, 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 blah. He's a different breed. So with that being said, I'm just going to take the over. And I'm expecting a lot of points in this game. And I believe the total of points here is 51. So look for it to just climb on up. And next game up, we have the Giants versus the Cardinals. Now, I said it last week, and this is going to be the continuing theme. I have no idea what the Arizona Cardinals are doing as it comes to being a franchise. A team playing in sports, a professional sport that is, in the NFL. I don't think they have any idea, and I'm not going to waste time, constantly talking about their indiscretions and what they're doing or seemingly think that they're trying to accomplish. No one knows whether they're tanking or whatever it is as far as their blueprint for this current season. So whatever with them. On the other side, you have the Giants. Daniel Jones got paid. Saquon Barkley seemingly got paid a 1-year deal. They have tons of weapons on the outside, Darius Slayton and, a plethora of other receivers and things of that nature. Defense was supposed to be their staple, was supposed to be much improved. A lot of hype, a lot of additions, all that, all bells and whistles. For the fact of them to go to Dallas, or for the fact of Dallas coming to them, I should say, and shutting them out. Donut. Zero. Zilch. They have nothing to show for it. They couldn't do any. They couldn't guard no one. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. They couldn't even, if they had bad breath, they couldn't even stop the Dallas Cowboy offense. They just couldn't do anything. With that being said, in this game, I'm not looking for sharp execution on either side. However, the Giants are slightly more talented than the Arizona Cardinals. And when I mean slight, it's very, very thin. I just have no idea. Like when your significant other tells you you're skating on thin ice, or your parents tell you you're skating on thin ice, that's how thin it is. It's not going to be a very well skilled played game. If you're looking for that, I strongly suggest that you change the channel, watch something, you can follow it on your phone or something. But if you're purposely, physically trying to look at this game, you're doing a huge disservice to yourself. So with that being said, and it hurts me, I'm taking the Giants, and they are giving, I believe, 4.5 points. Just look for them to cover. I have no idea what Arizona is doing. Neither do they. So that's my pick for this game. Next game up is the Commanders versus the Broncos. Now, let's put things in perspective. Russell Wilson is a former Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's well known for his improvisation of how he plays, decent to strong arm, stocky in stature, solid football player, right? Now he's introduced to a new coach in Sean Payton. Sean Payton comes from the coaching tree of Bill Parcells, and he's also a Super Bowl winning coach. He's coached a lot of greats, from the Lawrence Taylors to the Drew Brees, and his list is long and long and long. Like I said, he's a protege of Bill Parcells. So what I'm going to say is that there's a clash of behaviors here. There's a lot of things that need to get ironed out, and I just don't really see it being ironed out. The only remedy, especially in sports, if anyone's ever played any kind of sports, is winning. When you win, all that gets swept under the rug. No one cares if you like each other, if you're going to go have a beer or, have dinner with each other. No one really cares. But when it comes to these two individuals, particularly Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, there's just a difference in opinions. Both seemingly are strong-willed. Russell Wilson, he's one of these individuals that, he appears very humble, but he's also kind of stubborn and set in his ways. And Sean Payton, same thing. Mirrors that same sentiment, but has his own particular set of standards that he likes to abide by. Mind you, he comes up with the schemes, he's running that offense, and he wants the execution the way that he sees fit. I know that's being long-winded with those two, but that's what this game is going to come out to be. Commanders are, yes, they're young, they're up and coming. Yes, they won their game last week. They tried many of ways to lose that game of last week, if you could believe, but they pulled it out. They have a young quarterback over there, and he's learning as he goes. But he's promising. They have an offense that's promising as far as wide receivers, and they have a decent running back there. Their defense is also very vaunted, where they take the ball away. They'll strip the ball or they'll pick it. They also have a new, coaching tree over there. They have Eric Bieniemy over there, where he used to be with the Kansas City Chiefs. I personally believe Bieniemy deserves a head coaching job because he is much more than just a figurehead for the Kansas City offensive design. I think a lot of people give too much credence and praise to Andy Reid, but it takes a lot. But that's neither here nor there. But again, when it comes to the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson has to understand that he's no longer the player that he was when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. He's just not that player. Play the system. You're getting paid a lot of money. When they brought you in, you were seen as the savior. Just play the system, especially with someone like Sean Payton, who just finished dealing with and grooming the whole time with and working in concert with Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a certified Hall of Famer. He's well on his way to Canton. He can do the same for Russell Wilson in resurrecting his career. But Russell has to be willing to relinquish the reins and follow suit. If he follows suit, they will win. There will be constant progression. There will be, there will just be a passageway to, obviously, the playoffs. Baby steps before they start running. But with all that being said, and without being long-winded, I'm going to take the Broncos in this because I think Sean Payton will impose his will in this game and let Russell understand that it's his way or no way. Because if it doesn't work out, you can see that the Broncos franchise organization, they're going to be kicking Russell Wilson to the side, and it's going to be unceremoniously. So, like I said, I'm taking the Broncos, and they are giving 3.5 points, and that's my pick. The upset play for this week comes by way of the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, with Cincinnati, they have all these bells and whistles. They have Jamar Chase. They have, their receiving core. They have, Joe Burrow. They have, Joe Mixon. They have a defense that's, worrisome. They have it. They have a great coach, who, knows how to push the right buttons. And, they have everything. They have everything you want. Joe Burrow got paid. He's the highest paid player now in NFL history with his contract and, a huge amount in guaranteed money. Not a whole lot to say bad about them, right? If you think about it in terms of that, they've improved each year since Joe Burrow has gotten there. But something about this game just isn't right. And I'll tell you why. And it's stemming from last week's game. Do you know Joe Burrow didn't even throw for 100 yards last game? Yes, I know it was raining. I know it wasn't great conditions. I know he wasn't there for the full preseason because of his injury and things of that nature. I get it. But Deshaun Watson was there, right? He was playing. He was the opposing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And you know what happened? Cleveland did what I think what two other teams did for the duration of last week's gameplay. They ran the ball. They didn't try to throw. They didn't try to, do anything fancy. They didn't try to outsmart or do anything like that. They simply put the ball in Chubb's belly and let him go to work. They let him eat. I think the problem with a lot of these teams is they're overthinking it. I think they're trying to prove and justify these wide range of contracts and monies that they're throwing around, especially to QBs and giving guaranteed money. They're trying to, extract all their skill sets and put it all on full display. I'm going to tell you what, a lot of these quarterbacks are going to, get injured. They're going to get hit a lot, if not injured. It's going to cause a lot of frustration. There's going to be a lot of time being thrown off because it's just not sustainable. Just imagine you standing there and someone just hitting you constantly, maybe 10 to 20 plays during the game. You're not going to like it. After a while, the ball comes out faster. The protection, they get tired of, trying to upkeep and trying to keep away defenders. It's just not sustainable. On the other side, we have the Baltimore Ravens. They didn't play particularly well. I mean, they did enough to cover their spread, which was probably one of the largest spreads last week. They played well, but you can obviously see the timing is still not there, especially when it came to Odell and Lamar Jackson. There's a lot of stuff that they need to work on. I know they did work with each other in the offseason, but it's still once, playing around in the sand and throwing in shorts and stuff is much different than actual game speed and game play. I do feel bad for J.K. Dobbins. He ruptured his Achilles and, he's just snake bit. It just seems like each season he goes through some kind of season ending injury that, ends his season early. But the Baltimore Ravens have some weapons out there. They do, but they have Lamar Jackson. He is the ultimate weapon. He's hard to tackle. He is a running back. He is a quarterback. He's probably the fastest person on the field. And that's it's not even close. But when it comes to that, it's just very hard to watch sometimes because you almost brace yourself because he's one hit away from getting seriously injured because he takes chances. But then again, that's what football is, taking chances and taking risks. With that being said, when you put this game together and you try to package it, I look for the Baltimore Ravens to shock the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't see Cincinnati having all their ducks in a row. I know Joe Burrow is a very smart quarterback. He doesn't take very many chances and things of that nature. But like I said, it's something with the timing. If you've watched last week's game, if you know anything about sports, you can be athletic as you want. But if the timing isn't there and the connections don't meet, you're not going to be successful as far as execution. So with that being said, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens and look for Lamar Jackson to run around. They might try to tackle him. They might be successful. They might not. Look for him to do a little bit more better because unlike on the other side, he and Odell have put in work. They also have Zay Flowers. They have a whole host of characters that can catch the ball and take it a distance. So what it's going to come down to is that can Lamar Jackson and Bunch make more plays? I think so. And therefore, they're going to be my upset pick as I have them winning outright and beating the Cincinnati Bengals. So now you got 4 picks, 1 upset alert. Please share, like, subscribe, comment. I'm always willing and able to listen and see your comments. And I did throw an alley-oop out there. I did say I'm a competitive person, as I know a lot of you guys are out there. If you're gambling, especially in the game, whatever game it is, throw it in the comments. I have no problem with friendly competition. In fact, if you want my opinion on it, or if you oppose my opinion, bring it. I embrace it. I have no problem with pushback. It only helps out the channel and it helps me get better at it. I'm not going to, who am I to tell you you're wrong? I don't have to agree with you. We can agree to disagree, and that's how this thing goes. So with all that being said, I hope you get some money. But until next time, it's me, Clem Boogie.